Yes, sir.
And what were your duties when you went to the scene?
I helped out painting the road evidence, and also I checked Mr. Castro's eyes for, well, at the time to check if he was intoxicated.
And what test did you perform?
The horizontal gaze nystagmus.
And what is the horizontal gaze nystagmus test?
So it's a validated test, basically research done by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
And what are you looking for in the horizontal gaze nystagmus test?
I'm looking for possible signs of intoxication.
And what is nystagmus? Can you explain that to the jury?
Yes, nystagmus is basically jerking in the eyes.
And well, do you have any examples to give to the jury?
So we all have nystagmus, but it's not easy to see with the naked eye. And it's basically what it does is like it has to do with something with the muscles of the eye, so the eye doesn't get tired. So horizontal gaze nystagmus, what it does is if someone's been drinking an alcoholic beverage or taking certain drugs, when we check the eyes, for example, for horizontal gaze nystagmus, what we have the person do at the time is follow a stimulus, which could be the tip of my finger or a pen, with their eyes only, without moving their head, keeping their head level. And when they're following this stimulus from side to side, if they haven't taken any alcohol or drugs, their eyes should follow as if the windshield is basically wet and you turn on your wipers when it's raining, right? They slide easily. So it's the same thing. They just gaze from side to side. When they have been ingesting either alcohol or certain drugs, we call it lack of smooth pursuit because they'll start jerking to the side as they're following the stimulus. It's not a smooth movement, but you'll see the jerking of the eyes as they gaze to the side.
How many clues are you looking for when you're conducting let's call it the HGN test?
Yes, there is a total of 6 clues. So it's three validated clues per in that test, which are lack of smooth pursuit, distinct and sustained nystagmus and maximum deviation, and onset of nystagmus prior to 45 degrees. But in total, you got to check each eye. So it's six total clues.
And how many times? So is it mostly you just moving the stimulus back and forth?
It should be you hold the stimulus. You hold the stimulus about 12 to 15 inches in front of the nose of the person and slightly above eye level so you can see their eyes clearly.
And how many times are you moving the stimulus past their eyes?
It's twice per eye. So you would start at the center, you check the left eye first. So when you start, you go left and then across and then you come back. That's one pass and it should be about 2 seconds, 2 seconds to go out and back to the center.
And is that when you're looking for a lack of smooth pursuit?
Correct. That is for lack of smooth pursuit.
And what's the next clue that you're looking for?
The next one is distinct and sustained nystagmus and maximum deviation. So same thing, you start with the left eye, but you instruct the person to, prior to that, you already instructed the person to follow the stimulus with their eyes only, not to move their head and keep it steady and level. So on this one, what you do is when you move the stimulus to the side, you held it there for a minimum of 4 seconds. So the eye has to go all the way out to the left. And if that clue is present, you're gonna see distinct and sustained jerking as they keep looking to the side. It has to be distinct and sustained for a minimum of 4 seconds, or else the clue is not there. And you do the same thing for the eye. You do it twice on each eye.
And then what would the final clue be?
The final would be the onset of nystagmus prior to 45 degrees. So on this one, you start again from the center, left eye. You check the left eye first, and you would move. It should take you about 4 seconds to get from the center to basically just before the shoulder. What you're looking for is to get the eye at an angle approximately 45 degrees, before 45 degrees. So usually, if you hold the stimulus 12 to 15 inches in front of that person, it should be about 12 to 15 inches to the side. So as long as you can still see when you're checking a little bit of the white on their eyes on this side, you should be fine. Because if you go all the way out, then you're not You're no longer looking for unsettled nystagmus prior to 45 degrees, but you're doing the distinct and sustain again.
And you've been talking a lot about the clues and what you're looking for when you're performing the test. What do you do before you perform the test on someone?
You ask some medical questions, basically, if they had any head injuries, they suffer from diabetes or any other kind of, they had any traumatic brain injuries. What we do on the test is prior to starting to look for those clues, I'll ask them to, I'll give them the instructions, look at the stimulus, don't move your head, keep your head steady. And the first thing that we do is while I'm looking at their eyes, I'm looking for equal pupil size. As long as if they don't have equal pupil size, that may indicate that they have a traumatic brain injury or some kind of medical illness. And then the other check that we do is we check for equal tracking. So just like we did on this thing for checking for lack of smooth pursuit when we haven't followed the stimulus, we're making sure that their eyes are following, both eyes are equally tracking the stimulus. If not, that may indicate a medical issue that they may have.
Is it possible while you're checking someone and while you're trying to qualify them that they could have resting nystagmus? Well, what is that?
It is possible. That would be again something that may indicate a medical issue. And basically, resting nystagmus is as they're looking straight ahead to the stimulus, you'll see the eyes jerking up and down, just a little bit, but it's visible to the naked eye. So that may indicate that, or some kind of dissociative anesthetic drug that they may have taken.
And here in this case, did you ever speak with the defendant?
Yes, I did.
And did you ever ask him any questions about any possible alcohol consumption?
Yes, I did. I asked him how much he had to drink, and as well as how the crash happened, I believe.
Did he ever tell you how much he had to drink?
He mentioned 4 to 5 years.
And you said that he told you about how the crash happened. What did he say?
When I asked him, he said that he wasn't sure. He didn't see anything. He just felt his vehicle going up, like in the air.
And when you performed the HGN test on the defendant, what did you observe?
I observed only 2 clues.
Which 2 clues?
The lack of smooth pursuit.
And so what does it mean when you only see 2 of the clues?
The person's not intoxicated.
Does it give?
All right, you may proceed.
Thank you, Ryan. Good morning, Detective.
Good morning, sir.
How you doing?
Good.
Good to see you again. I've got a couple of questions I want to follow up on stuff you've spoken to the prosecutor about. So your role, I believe that you just testified that your role at the scene, because you're traffic investigation detail, right?
Yes.
So your primary role at the scene was to help map out road evidence, is that correct?
Help out with the road evidence, yes, sir.
So, and that involves between you and your team identifying marks on the road?
Yes, sir.
And putting spray paint on them?
Yes, sir.
And then identifying certain debris?
Yes, sir.
And then marking it, right?
Yes, sir.
And then if there's any skid marks, you identify that?
Yes, sir.
And so you're basically spraying the evidence at the scene?
Yeah, we spray it so it's easier for the CSI person to take pictures of the evidence.
Yeah, and so you didn't do any calculations based on your spraying of the road, right?
Correct, sir.
That was other officers.
Yes.
And you're not the primary officer for TID, so you didn't write a report at the time, is that correct?
Correct, sir.
And the other thing that you testified to, I believe, would it be fair to say it was Detective Martinez who gave you some instructions and asked you to do some things?
But she asked me to check his eyes.
Yeah, so it was Detective Martinez. Now, Detective Martinez didn't ask you, you're aware that Mr. Castro wasn't the only driver involved in that wreck?
Yes, there were vehicles that resulted hit because of his vehicle.
Yeah, that's right. Well, maybe, but that's not what I asked you. There are other drivers on the scene still, right?
Yes, sir.
Detective Martinez didn't ask you to check those out. Either of those 2 gentlemen, Peter or Paul Martinez or Paul Stefano.
I don't remember the names, but yes, yeah, she didn't ask me to check anybody
didn't?
else.
She only asked you to check him.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, so you did that, but you, were you aware that Detective Martinez had already checked him for horizontal gaze nystagmus?
Yes, she did mention that.
And were you aware, because they're called SFSTs, right? Standardized field sobriety tests, right?
Yes, sir.
And standardized, what does standardized mean to you, Detective?
It means that they need to be done the same way, so following the guidelines from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
That's right. And so they've got to be, so the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or NHTSA, is the government agency that has promulgated or brought these guidelines and training materials on how to investigate these crimes, right?
Correct, sir.
And so it's standardized. So standardized means it's done the same here as it is somewhere else, right?
Yes, sir.
And so it's standardized if you do it or another officer does it, right?
Yes, sir.
So it's all done the same. So, because one of the things you spoke about was you have to ask somebody what are called medical screening questions.
Yes.
Yeah, and you mentioned those. Now, were you aware that Detective Martinez had already asked Mr. Castro some medical screening questions before you did your test on him?
No, sir.
You weren't aware that Mr. Castro had told Detective Martinez that he had a traumatic
I'm
brain
gonna
injury?
object to testifying.
Sustained.
Were you aware, or did Detective Martinez tell you that Mr. Castro had said that he had a traumatic brain injury in April?
Again, gonna object to testifying.
All right, that'll be overruled. You can answer.
No, sir.
No, you weren't. So, and because the testimony earlier was that, because there are some things, right, that you do, everything you do is done for a reason,
Yes, sir.
right? And the reason you ask medical screening questions is because there are some people who aren't good candidates for these tests, right?
If they have equal tracking and equal pupil size, no resting established, they are good candidates.
That's not, I know, but that's not, let's come back. So some people are not good candidates for these tests.
Yes,
For example, people who are over 65 years of age aren't good candidates for the balance test because they may not have good balance, right?
correct.
People who are over 50 pounds overweight may not be good candidates for these tests, right?
Yes,
And if somebody were to say to you, look, I've got I'm on crutches, I can't balance, I've got an injury, they would not be a good candidate for these tests.
correct.
And if you did these tests on a person with that condition, it could compromise the validity. That's what the S stands for in standardized, right?
Validity?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. And so I know that thank you. You weren't aware, but Mr. Castro we've established Mr. Castro, you didn't know Mr. Castro had told Detective Martinez he had a TBI.
I'm gonna again object to testifying.
All right, that'll be sustained. Re-ask your question in
Thank
a
you,
different
Judge.
way.
Will do. But your testimony right now was that you asked Mr. Castro medical screening questions.
And on that, I think I asked him about diabetes. I couldn't hear the answer because when I review, like I said yesterday, when I review that little, I guess clip from Mr. Chavarria, Officer Chavarria's body worn camera, since I didn't have my camera on when I did this, when I checked his eyes. I did ask him about diabetes, but I couldn't hear because it was really loud, like the noise around it, and head injuries.
But you didn't write a report, right?
That's correct.
And you weren't wearing a body worn camera.
That is correct.
So, but you made some notes later on, so wait down the line, right?
Yes.
Can I approach you on it?
Yes.
I'm going to show you. I guess I should. You have a clean copy of this one. Jasmine, you have a clean copy.
Oh, yeah.
Mind if I'll show you? I might have to mark it. You've got a clean copy.
Yeah.
We'll show you a report. Is that your report, Detective?
Yes.
Let's turn to page. It's 7 pages long, right?
Yes.
I think it's page 5. Yeah, you got it right. Okay. So there's no mention in there that you asked.
Counsel,
Sorry, Judge.
Would you like to mark it?
Thank you, Judge.
Sure.
I'm going to mark it as defense. I think it's defense 3, Judge.
Yes.
It's the same one. Because you're a detective, you've got extra training over and above a normal patrol officer, right?
Yes,
We don't need to go over the need for you to put details in your report. You know all about that, right?
yes,
And so you'd agree with me, this is the only document where you have put your actions down in writing about this incident.
yes, sir.
And you don't mention in there that you asked medical screening questions,
No, sir. Like I said, that's from the video from Officer Chavarria.
but not yours, right? Because you didn't have one.
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh,
That's
cool.
Not from my video.
And oh yeah. So you would agree with me that if somebody does have a traumatic brain injury, that was one of the things you mentioned to jury, can affect whether or not someone has nystagmus. Not asking you whether you observed it or not. It's a yes or no, right?
Yeah, there's more to it, but yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Correct.
And you would agree with me that the NHTSA manual, you talk about NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, they mention that there are other reasons why somebody could have nystagmus, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you mentioned one of them. It could be someone's got resting nystagmus. It could have like a lazy eye or something going on with their eyes. And it's an involuntary jerking of the eye, right?
Yes, sir.
And you're aware of what rotational nystagmus is?
Yes, sir.
And you'd agree with me, rotational nystagmus is, it's almost as if someone's been rotated really quick and the workings of the inner ear is disturbed, and that can induce nystagmus, is that right?
The only way you will be able to see it is if you have a camera or you're looking at that person while they're rotating at a fast speed. Yes.
But it can happen.
Mm, I wouldn't be able to see it.
It can happen.
Yes.
It's in your training material.
Yes, sir. It could happen.
And then what the NHTSA manual says is maybe someone who's involved in a rollover accident could display this. I'm not asking if you did, it's possible.
Well, I don't recall that specifically on the NHTSA manual. If you're saying rotational nystagmus, like I said, that's when the person is rotating at a fast speed, the inner fluid's getting disturbed, but that would be while they're rotating.
Yeah.
So after the rollover, they shouldn't have any.
And that is what NHTSA calls, what you've just led into there, it's called post-rotational nystagmus, right? That's another one.
Correct, sir. Yeah.
And so you're correct. Rotational is like if you're rolled really quick, it can disturb your inner ear and make your eyes jerk, kind of, if you're dizzy, right? And rotational is the longer lasting effects of such an incident, correct?
Post-rotational nystagmus will last for a few seconds after the crash, after the rollover.
And on the horizontal gaze nystagmus, there are 6 clues.
Yes, sir.
And so these aren't, NHTSA says that a decision point is 4 clues, right?
Correct. The decision to arrest 4 clues or 6. I mean,
Or
out of
to
6,
continue.
or the 6.
Or to continue to the next test is 4 clues, right?
Correct.
And you didn't do the next test that you would do would be the walk and turn test,
Yes, sir.
and you didn't do that.
No, sir.
And if you scored a certain way on that walk and turn test, then you would then do the 1 leg stand test,
Correct.
and you didn't do that one either.
No, that wasn't performed.
And you didn't arrest Mr. Castro
Correct.
as a result of your testing.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Judge. No further questions possible.
All right. Any further questions?
Just you, Judge.
Okay.
How long after the crash did you examine Mr. Castro?
That would have been at least, I'm not sure 100%, but it would have been at least 4 hours after the crash.
And so would you have seen either rotational nystagmus or post-rotational nystagmus at that point?
No, sir.
And isn't it true that if you observe two clues on the HGN test, that would indicate some consumption of alcohol?
Object deleted.
All right, that'll be sustained.
What would two clues on the HGN test indicate to you?
That the person has either been ingesting alcoholic beverage or taking certain drugs that could cause the nystagmus.
Nothing further, Judge.
Defense.
Very briefly, Detective, were you asked to test a woman called Shayna Alassel?
I'm going to object to relevance.
How's it relevant?
It goes towards causation, Jess.
I'm sorry, what?
It goes towards causation in this case.
All right. You can ask the question.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Were you asked to test a woman called Shayna Alassel?
No, sir.
Okay. And Detective, do you remember what time you were at the scene?
No, sir. No. After 5 in the morning.
After five in the morning, and to the best of your recollection, do you remember what time approximately this incident came in? That, not when you went to it, when the accident happened.
I want to say about 2 in the morning.
So you went there about, did you say 5:30 in the morning or 5 o'clock? When did you go?
We got the call. Well, we realized we had to go to the scene. It was almost 5 in the morning when we got back to the office. So I'm gonna say I was there after 5 in the morning. I'm not too sure.
All right, so about 5 o'clock in the morning, 3 hours after the accident.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Thanks, Detective. Thank you, Judge. Possible.
Nothing from the state.
All right, is this witness excused or subject for recall?
Excuse from the state.
Yeah, no objection, Judge. Excuse.
All right, the rule has been invoked. You're not allowed to discuss your testimony with anyone. The only persons you're allowed to speak to until this case is concluded are attorneys for the state or the defense. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you may step down. State, call your next witness.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up.
Yes.
If you think you're talking too loud, you're not, okay?
No problem.
All right, if you'll state your name for the record.
John Doyle, D-O-Y-L-E.
State, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, the detective, well, I guess it's the Sergeant Doyle now,
Now, yes.
but you changed, I guess.
Agencies. Yes.
All right. Let's go back to, where were you working in, July, particularly July 22nd, 2022?
The night unit of San Antonio Police Department Traffic Investigations.
And when did you leave the SAPD, agency?
January of 2023.
And why did you leave?
I retired.
How many years did you, serve in the SAPD?
A little over 30 and a half.
And during that course of your time at the SAPD, did you go through specialized training and just training and updating training?
Yes. I was a detective for 23 years. I started off in sex crimes. I had a bunch of training related to that. Came to night traffic investigations for a short period of time. Started training then. Moved to night CID.
What is night CID?
All the daylight detectives go home. Then it was 6. And so from 6 until they come in the next morning, the night CID handled all the scenes that required a detective at night, except for traffic cases.
Okay.
And so we handled murders, robberies, rapes, whatever. And
What other divisions were you in?
night murders after that. Was there a year and a half. They eliminated that unit, and I went back to traffic investigations, and that was in 2010. And I stayed there till I retired.
And traffic investigation, is that sometimes called PID?
It is.
And what does that stand for?
Traffic Investigations Detail. It's part of homicide. It's a detail within the homicide unit.
And what does that division investigate?
We investigate, or TID, I keep thinking of myself there. I was there a long time. Investigates fatality crashes, hit and run crashes with injury, alcohol-related serious bodily injury or fatality crashes.
And so pretty much anything to deal with something of seriousness or the death or serious bodily injury involving vehicles.
Correct.
And do you have to go through specialized training in that division?
Oh, yes. I had, it's been long enough to, I think it was between 500 and 600 hours. It's been a bit, but it's over 500 hours of specialized training.
And is that just to become certified in that certain field, or can you describe to the jury why you had to take that many hours?
Sure. Part of it is become a crash reconstructionist. There's 3 classes that build up to you being a reconstructionist. There are 7 weeks of classes, all told, to get you to the point where you're a crash reconstructionist. Then I went to classes on the airbag control modules, being a analyst for and a technician for airbag control modules. I went to classes on Burla, which is downloading infotainment systems to get data from them. I became a drone pilot for the department and learned how to use the software used to map the scene using a drone. The department decided they wanted a helicopter unit to do all the drone flights, so didn't go into a lot of practice with it, but I was certified as a drone pilot for the department.
And so you mentioned one certified. Did you have to get certified in crash reconstruction?
Yes.
And you have to go through specialized that specialized training. Did you also include your experience in there? Like, let me ask you about your experience in crash reconstruction. How many scenes, or let's just say crashes, do you believe, and I know it'd probably be an estimate, that you have worked on in your career?
Thousands, because you have to include patrol as well.
What about
on patrol, you do the initial investigation, but from TID, literally thousands. It wasn't unusual, and this was one of those nights to have 5 scenes that you go to.
And so you're certified in reconstruction, and then also y'all use certain tools, like measurement tools, is that correct?
Yes, I've had training in first it was the Sokia, and then later the Leica. It's surveying equipment that's been adapted to law enforcement use for crash reconstruction, but basically it's surveying equipment. And through the years we've advanced from when I first started, you had to sight a prism. You had to look through the thing and the viewfinder and sight in the X on the thing to the prism to be able to take a shot. It later advanced to the point where you use robotic total station, and what it does is the total station follows the prism itself, and you're holding a pole with the prism and a data collector, and you're putting whatever evidence that you're marking in the data collector. And what it does is it creates a scale diagram for the scene reconstruction.
And so I guess it's a little talking over a little bit of my head about that. But I mean, I've seen workers out in the field, like construction workers or something, and you see them holding, some guy holding the pole is in the middle of the field, and you see another guy across the field looking through something, and that's what you were speaking about earlier.
In the beginning, that's what we had to do. Now everyone either uses a robotic total station like we do, or one with GPS. We also have one that does GPS, but it's for a different purpose. It's for use with the drones. All surveyors now use GPS because you don't have line of sight issues. You can go anywhere a satellite can see you. So basically anywhere but a parking garage or under a bridge. Ours, what we still use for the most part is the robotic total station, where it follows you around. You have to have line of sight though. And what it's doing is it's collecting XYZ, and is the math term, measurements, north, south, east, west, up and down. So like if there's a hill in the roadway, it measures that. And that's what a lot of the surveyors are doing out there. For example, road work, they're preparing the grades for that and everything. Same equipment. It's just adapted to take codes for use in crash reconstruction.
And I'll ask you, how many times have you used this equipment to map a crash scene?
Hundreds.
And so let's go to the night that why you're here today. It's July 22nd, 2022. I guess rather the early morning hours of that day.
Well, it was kind of late morning hours for us. Like I said, that day we had multiple crash scenes, and as we were about to leave, then Detective Martinez, now Sergeant Martinez, found that North Patrol apparently was still waiting for us to come to a scene. They weren't aware that we were needed there. They called earlier in the shift, but at that point they didn't know exactly what they have, and they failed to call us back. So we called out there and found out that we needed to go out to 281, and I believe it was right around TPC to handle this incident.
And so you stated just earlier in your testimony that you said several scenes that night. Is that correct?
Correct.
And so yeah, I guess y'all had a busy night.
Yes.
And was there other fatalities that night?
As I recall, no other fatalities, just lots of other scenes, life-threatening crashes. I don't remember the exact details on all of them, but several life-threatening crashes that we were called to.
And so when you actually went out to the scene, 281 and near TPC Parkway, do you recall what time it may be?
I think we got there roughly 6 a.m. Our normal shift ended. We worked from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. on the night shift. And we didn't find out about it until after our shift had technically ended. I believe we got out there around 6 a.m.
Around that time?
Roughly, yes.
And I mean, I guess you travel in different vehicles. I mean, not everybody's getting there at the same time.
No, the sergeant went in one. We have a response vehicle. It's a F-450 pickup with a box with all of our equipment on the back. And I drove in a separate car.
And so when you arrived at this scene, is this in Bear County, Texas?
San Antonio, Bear County, Texas, yes.
Thanks. Were you the handling detective, or what we call the main detective, but handling the scene?
No, the detective with the report responsibility was Detective Martinez. Again, Sergeant Martinez now.
And there's already been testimony that this accident happened around 2:21 a.m. in the morning. So if y'all arrived around later,
3.5, 4 hours later, something like that.
and when you arrived at the scene, Well, tell me this, what did you see at the scene?
They had the roadway shut down. When we arrived, found there were 3 vehicles involved. It was clearly a high-speed crash due to the damage to the vehicles and the distance
I'm sorry, you say
vehicles traveled.
sorry, you say clearly a high-speed crash.
Yes,
Are you basing that on just your experience and training or?
correct. Yes,
Okay, and I'm sorry, you were stating something else when I interrupted you.
sorry. When you look at the damage to the vehicles and the distance the vehicles travel after impact, you can get a pretty good feel on high speed or not.
And so that's by actually standing there and viewing the actual vehicle.
Just one moment. Yes,
Judge, can we approach that?
yes.
Mr. Garrett, I can't hear you. Can you talk in the mic?
I'll allow you to take the witness on voir dire. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have you all wait in the back, and I will have you all back here at no later than 10:50. All right, and remember my previous instructions. Do not think about this case outside this room. Everything that you need to know about this case has come from inside the courtroom. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors. And defense, you wanted to take the witness on voir dire?
Thank you, Lauren.
You may proceed.
Good morning, Detective Sergeant.
Yes. Fine. Either one's fine.
I should use your proper rank. I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions about the opinion you're going to give today. Are you here to give an expert opinion?
I would say yes.
Okay, and what is that opinion about?
In regards to this, whether or not it's how the crash happened, the speed, that sort of thing.
Are you here to, is the basis of your opinion essentially, does it come from your use of your equipment at the scene, the Leica?
Some of it, yes.
So, and you said it's the robotic station?
It's a Leica robotic total
So,
station.
and that's different from the regular total manual station, right?
Right. A total station that would be manual would be the ones that I was referring to earlier, where you have to sight in and focus on the prism. And this one,
And did you make those diagrams using a Leica robotic station?
I did.
And you've already testified that you said from your training experience, right, that it was a high rate of speed crash, right?
The speed involved or the crash involved high speeds, yes.
Did you do any energy analysis in this case?
On this, no.
You didn't. Okay, and that's what I want to judge. So you're not going to offer an opinion as to speed based on any crash math or skid marks or energy analysis that you did.
Well, I measured the skid marks and scrape marks and all that sort of thing, but I didn't do an analysis of it.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Ones that you created. You didn't try and recreate it to test crash math against what you saw. You're just simply documenting what comes out of the Leica and the measurements to make the map, right?
Well, the map is used to do the speed analysis.
Yeah, they use your map to do the analysis, right?
That's
Okay,
correct.
thank you. Judge, that ends my order.
All right,
We've got no
And
objection
so-
to this witness.
no objections.
Okay.
All right. Deputy Laura, if the jurors are ready, then we can bring them back in. Thank you. But parties, please remember, I don't know the facts of your case. So you'll have to let me know what you anticipate your challenge is to an expert witness.
Can you spell Leica for me and the other one?
Leica.
Yeah, and the other one? So to,
Sokkkia.
it's okay.
Kia. It's Swedish.
So, yeah,
Sokkkia, Swedish. Yeah. I think the other one maybe too, like it's definitely European. I don't remember.
Is this also of the scene?
It is.
And obviously you see the HEB truck in the back and then you have the Volkswagen in the back also, but this is the Honda Accord.
Correct.
And then also state exhibit number 85, do you recall seeing this 18-wheeler HEB truck at the scene?
I do.
And then is there a truck behind there?
Yes.
And that's how you remember seeing the scene that day when you got there?
Yes. I remember those golf balls. They were everywhere.
Well, yeah, I think just to let the record be clear on state exhibit number 71, you notice a lot of golf balls in the back here. Is that right?
Yeah, they were everywhere.
They're everywhere, all over the highway.
Yes.
Now, Detective Doyle, at the time when you got there, you've spoken about measurements, you described the system or the devices, equipment that you would use to measure. What did you do at the scene at that point?
First thing we do is a quick walkthrough so that I know what is out there. The sergeant and detectives were busy painting it. It was really long, so it took a while. I think I helped them paint a little bit, final positions of vehicles, that kind of stuff. But I was looking see what evidence was out there, what scrape marks, what tire marks, all that kind of thing. Just looking at the scene in general, it's one of the first things you do is you go through and just look and see what's there, because you don't know until you look. And
then what did you proceed to next after you did the initial walkthrough?
Set up the total station.
And then you spoke about painting. And I know that the jury's already seen some of these photos. It looks like there's spray paint or something on the ground, and also sometimes on a wall or something, and sometimes on a tire, and different colors. Can you describe to the jury why that paint was put on the ground and the walls and sometimes on the tires, and describe that to the jury of why that is painted that way?
Okay, we when we have multiple vehicles involved, we use different paint colors for every vehicle. What you're marking is the evidence that's left, tire marks, scrape marks, all that sort of thing. And really more than anything else, it's to allow y'all to see it when they take the pictures. It highlights the evidence. It's basically what it's doing. And the different colors let you know that's this car, these marks are from this car, these marks from this car. When I'm going around and I'm mapping the scene, I'm not mapping the paint, I'm mapping the evidence that's there, that the paint is highlighting, so that when they take the pictures, it makes it easier for y'all to see.
Okay, so you're saying you're not putting the device on the paint, you're putting it on the evidence.
Yes, that's correct.
And that evidence is either gouge marks or tire, I guess, treads or rubber that's left by the tires?
It's tire marks left by the tires, scrape marks left by the vehicles, the area of impact, where the initial area of impact was, where the vehicle, the cord in particular, hit the wall, the final rest of the vehicles. The truck did all kinds of crazy stuff. It was flipping and sliding and doing all kinds of stuff.
And you mentioned something about area of impact. Can you describe to the jury what that term means?
Okay. In crash reconstruction, you learn real quick, you don't say point of impact, because you may be a foot or two off, let's say. What you're given is an area of impact. It's where the pickup hit the cord, the first area of impact. And you'll see a tire mark that'll be wider. You'll see gouge marks in the pavement, particularly on asphalt pavement. That's what you would see at the area of.
This is state exhibit number 25. What is painted on the ground right there?
The area of impact, that's the first one.
That is the first one.
Yes.
So tell the jury, how do you know that's the area of impact?
First off, there's no marks prior to this. There's no roadway evidence prior to this. That tire mark there is a wide tire mark from the truck. It's kind of it's different than what you're going to see in most of the tire marks, except for where it's going sideways and flipping. But when they're going straight, it's a little bit different than the regular tire marks. And there's scrapes there that honestly don't show up very well in this because
Okay, you might have a better
the pavement
picture.
is gray. If you're on asphalt, you're almost always going to see like a chunk of pavement that's been taken out. But this is because it's concrete, it's so hard.
Right.
That doesn't happen unless it's in
So
something
this-
real big.
I don't mean to talk over you. I know the court order doesn't want me to talk over, so I apologize for interrupting you. But again, this is where the pickup truck hit the Honda Accord.
Correct.
And I think you stated something just previously that before this, there was no marks.
There was no marks. There was no pre-impact braking, no evidence of the pickup swerving before, nothing like that.
So no marks.
Correct.
And why would it leave marks?
Like let's say you're approaching what you know is going to be a crash, you slam on the brakes and it's going to leave pre-impact skid marks. So it'd be skid marks, a gouge, like regular straight skid marks, a gouge, and a strange tire mark, basically, for lack of a better word. And then everything that happened after the crash, well, there was nothing before this.
So I'm going to show you what's marked state exhibit number 98. Do you recognize that picture?
Yes.
And what is that a picture of?
The same thing, just facing the other way more than anything else.
And so does it show any brake marks or tire marks or anything of indicating that the truck hit its brakes?
If you'll look, this right up by your thing, this tire mark is a little bit longer. So there, it looks like there's pre-impact braking. Again, that's why we call it an area of impact. So it's right here somewhere. This is where the truck is reacting to it. That's where we know that happened. That the impact had happened. So the area of impact may be a few feet back a little, but this is more in a mark that happened when the crash happened.
So after the crash happened.
Correct.
Okay. And that would be a tire mark from the pickup truck.
Correct.
And that's off to the right of this photo. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, the state would ask to enter state exhibit number 98 into evidence. Senator to defense, any objections?
No objection.
All right, State's Exhibit number 98 is admitted without objection.
Mayor Publisher.
Yes.
This is state exhibit number 98. Learn how to use this someday. I don't know if it's better. Let's see if it's better with the light on. Well, that's better. Sorry. I think this is what we're indicating here. You're speaking earlier about the area of impact here. And that this is the area of impact, not the point of impact, but that in that area, that's where it happened.
Yes, that's where we have the truck doing something to indicate that it's been involved in a crash. And in this case, it's making the wide tire mark in that scrape. You can
And-
actually see a scrape here. You'll notice some of these pictures are better because we were out there so late. It's not night anymore, it's day.
It's
So
day.
the camera actually does significantly better in the day. You don't have to fight the settings adjusting for night. So you're going to see that some of these pictures are significantly better because they're during the day.
Okay. And so for instance, state exhibit number 25, that's darker out there.
Absolutely.
And actually that is facing north. Is that correct?
Correct.
The way that like the direction of traffic would be flowing north.
That's correct.
And then state exhibit number 98 is actually facing south down to 81.
That's correct.
And this is during the day, but it does show that what you indicated and testified earlier, there's no braking, like any type of, like I call them screech marks or brake marks or tire marks. Is that correct?
Right.
And then you pointed this out to me when we were on the stand and on this photo, but there's some spray paint here and it shows some type of tire marks here. Explain to the jury what that is.
That's again, it's the tires from the truck leaving a mark on the roadway. And that's what's being marked there.
And I'll ask you, is that brake marks or is that after impact?
It's at impact, basically.
After impact.
Yeah.
Okay. So the truck had hit the Honda Accord and it caused these, the truck's tires to make marks.
Correct.
Thank you. Let me check. Oh, here they are. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go back over here and I'll show it to you on the bigger screen.
Okay.
Now-
Glasses.
I'm gonna show you state exhibit number 28. I see just a lot of stuff going on in this picture. Can you describe to the jury what's going on?
This is post-impact tire marks from the Accord. And what you're seeing is the vehicle is spinning as it's leaving these tire marks because you have a crossover of the tire marks. Just before it hits the wall, it's spinning.
And this is just a closer view, state exhibit number 29. And it looks like I don't know who wrote this on the wall, but A012.
AOI too, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I.
Right.
And so that's where this Honda Accord in state exhibit number 71, it collided with the wall.
Correct.
I'm going to show you what's been marked state exhibit number 31. That's a little further back from that picture. And can you tell the jury, I see like what looks like little U's around the spray paint or something. What does that mean?
The end of the mark.
The end of the mark.
It's a bracket around the end of the mark. It's basically what it is.
And those tire marks were made by which car?
The Accord.
The Ford.
Yellow is the Accord.
Okay, I'm colorblind, so.
Yeah, I understand.
State exhibit number 32. It's sort of to the side there, but you see the area of impact, and then you also see those yellow marks off to the right that you stated. Now, I believe this is the orange marks over here. Is that right?
And that's the truck.
That's the truck. And again, what does that little U, orange U mean on there?
Same thing. That's where it begins or ends, depending on how you look at it.
I also see that there's an object in the middle of the roadway there. Do you know where that article or that object came from?
It looks like it's from the truck because the Accord is silver. Can't say for absolute certain because sometimes the outside is one color and the inside's another, but I believe it's a part of the truck.
Okay. And then state exhibit number 33 is just another picture that shows down further. And in the background, you do see the other vehicles. Is that correct?
Yes, the Accord on the right, closer the pickup farther down, and way off on the right is the Volkswagen.
I'm also going to show you what's marked state exhibit number 39. What does this indicate?
Scrape.
What does that mean?
This is where the truck, and again, I said that the truck did some strange stuff. Well, this is as it's getting sideways, and it flipped on its side right there, and is leaving scrape marks on the pavement and the truck, of course.
So from where this picture shows where it went, I guess, scraping on its side, it ended up way over here
Yes.
still. I want to show you what's marked state exhibit number 43. I know it's sort of hard to see on this. What does that indicate right there?
Same thing, scrape. The dots are actually, they're actually tire marks as well, I believe. It's probably pre being completely painted, if that makes sense.
I'm going to show you what's marked state exhibit number 48. What does this indicate here?
That's another one of those where the tire is sideways.
And it looks like that it sort of curves off right here. Is that right?
Right, that's another clue to speed is how straight things are. Okay, so you had the truck hit the Accord. The Accord curved off like this. It's not going that fast. The truck, if you look, almost continues in a straight line. So it continued through the impact in a straight line. As the truck slows down, now it's not a straight line, it's a curve as it's sliding around to a stop.
As it's sliding around.
Yes.
I'm looking for. Where's my area of impact? Let's just have 1 second.
Yes.
I'll move on. So all these marks on the road that you colored in, or not you colored in, but it was painted in, describe the scene that night. Is that correct?
They're again highlighting the evidence so that A, you can see them, and B, the CSI can see them and take pictures.
And then you also map the area with actual the devices and equipment that you spoke of earlier. Is that right?
Correct.
And then did you use those marks and those measurements to make sketches of the scene that night?
I did.
I'm going to show you what's been marked. State exhibit number 1 is 94. And then also 95. And also 96.
It's a little bit closer. It zoomed in.
It zoomed in. So 97. So that's just a zoomed in version.
Yes,
Okay.
the scale is inch of 40 foot.
Okay. And these are some sketches that you made for this case from that night.
Yes.
Your Honor, state is asking to enter state exhibit number 94, 95, 96, 97. Tender to defense previously to see if there's any objections. State exhibit number 99. And I think you were mentioning something just previously here about measurements and everything and marking them.
Yes, this is the measurement data log.
And can you tell the jury what that means?
Okay. What it is it's giving me the measurements, north, south, east, west, and the elevation. Because, when you're setting up the scene, I take out a measuring tape and I measured the total station. It's got a little line on it. And I measured the height of the total station. And the bar that has the prism on it, with the data collector that I'm holding, it has height marks. So I enter the into the total station. The total station is 4 foot 8 inches off the ground. My prism is 5 feet off the ground. I mean, it's almost always 6 feet. You try to get it as low as possible because, again, every shot I take, you think about it, how many shots there were, it has to be level each and every shot. And that's part of why. It also gives you an elevation. So it gives you a north, south, east, west, and elevation. So in math terms, X, Y, Z. So if you're creating I don't remember the right word in math, it's basically a diagram, you would be able to do the same thing, plotting these X, Y, Z. We didn't do elevation on this one because it wasn't as critical, but this measurement log tells you the relative elevation compared to the first shot. The first shot is 0, 0, 0, and that's where the total station is.
And so that's in a sense like the legend for the dots on the maps here or on the
That's
sketch.
exactly what it is. Number one, the first one is the total station itself. And all
9 is admitted without objection.
No. Detective Doyle, I know I didn't ask you about this yet, but drag factor. Did you and Detective Martinez go to the scene later and test for drag factor?
we did, because part of what she needs to do with my diagram is she's going to do an energy analysis, is basically what you call it. You can get speeds from the tire marks, the scrape marks, and the momentum analysis of where the two impacts happened. And you combine all that together, and that will give you the speed of the truck when this happened. That's your ultimate goal. You start at points of rest, then you move back to the first area of impact. And when you're doing your speed calculation, and you add all these items together, the momentum calculation for where the two vehicles struck each other, and then the length of the tire marks, scrape marks, all that kind of stuff. But you need a drag factor for the tire marks. That's measuring the relative stickiness of the road, I guess is the nicest way to put it. If you look at this in these pictures, sometimes you look at it, it has like grooves in it.
I'm not sure
It's for
exhibit number 49.
water dispersal. Yeah, you can see it right here, right along in there, right along the white line. You can see the grooves in it. It's for water dispersal, but it makes it not as sticky as, let's say, it's asphalt. Okay, so your tires stick better to asphalt than they do on this. So you have to go out and get a reading of the stickiness of the road where the crash happened.
Yes,
George,
And-
object to narrative.
I'll move on.
sustained.
Okay. we'll move on from that, but I mean,
Sorry.
in the end,
I like what I do. I'm just trying to explain it.
it's very interesting. We could go on forever, but
Yes.
time is limited. You know that. But the fact is you and Detective Martinez actually went out there and performed this drag factor test out there, or drag factor.
Yes, we put an instrument in the vehicle and measure it. Yes.
And measured it, and you got that information. You and Detective Martinez got that. Is that correct?
Yes, I was driving and she was collecting
Okay.
the information.
I want to move on to another subject. Line of sight
Yes.
from the area of impact 1,
Yes.
looking south.
Correct.
Did y'all determine how far it was, or did you look?
Yes. As we were leaving the scene, that's the last thing we did. Detective Martinez and I went down and we just measured it on the odometer because it's the easiest thing to do. Honestly, we had broken down everything. We didn't measure. We just did it with the odometer in the car, and it was roughly half a mile.
Half a mile. And so you're saying that from the area of impact 1, where the truck hit that Honda Accord, that it was roughly a half mile you could see down the road.
It was probably more than that, but for sure a half a mile.
I'm going to show you state exhibit number 98. This is looking south from the area of impact 1. And so looking back south, you're looking all the way back this way, is that correct?
Right.
And I know that, you know, this area has overpasses and areas like that. So what would you describe the drive up to area of impact 1? Is it a hill or is it
It's a slight rise.
a slight rise?
It's not. Some bridges are like this that are like a big, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so you can't see, if you're here, you can't see what's over there because of line of sight. It's not like that here. It's going to an elevation, but it's a slight rise, slope is the term we use.
Thank you, Sergeant Doyle. I
That's
appreciate
fine.
that. Past witness.
Defense?
Thank you, Judge. Hi, Sergeant. Sorry, I'm gonna
That's
call you
fine.
Detective again.
Works either way.
Yeah, thank you, Sergeant. So where are you working now?
District Attorney's Office.
Oh, right, okay. With these guys?
They work in the criminal trial division. I work in intake. I do the intake on the same cases that I worked before. Vehicle death cases, serious bodily injury cases, failure to stop or render aid deaths.
That makes sense, right? Because of your experience. So, and I want to talk.
Can you talk in the mic? I
Oh,
can't
yeah,
hear you.
sorry, it's turned off. And that makes sense. That goes with your experience, right? I wanted to ask you about some of your training and experience. You said earlier that it was not on this night in question back in 2022. You actually made 3 scenes that night.
I think it was more like 5.
Oh wow! So you made 5 scenes that night.
I think this was the 5th, I believe. I'm not positive. All I can tell you, it was very busy.
And I'm not asking you to commit to that. I thought so. 5 scenes, and that's 5 scenes in the SAPD's jurisdiction where there was either a fatality or serious injury, right?
Correct.
And this isn't uncommon on a night, is what you said.
This was a weeknight. It's kind of uncommon on a weeknight. On the weekends, that's normal.
But that's normal on the weekend,
Yes.
right? So that's a lot of wrecks. And on that day, you actually went to multiple crash scenes.
Yes.
And you know that when you used to do one of the responsibilities of the police to go to scene is to write crash report.
That's the patrolman.
And that was, there may be a patrolman, a patrol officer will write a crash report, and that goes to TxDOT, the Texas Department of Transport.
That's correct.
And they use that for statistical purposes.
That's exactly what its purpose is.
And so they take you, so the patrol person, whoever that is, identifies certain vehicles. Is that right?
That's right.
And it's normally to determine who's at fault. Maybe.
He gives his opinion.
in their, yeah, there we go, in their opinion. In their
Correct.
opinion, that's a better way to put it. They decide, hey, you know, and they normally describe vehicle one, vehicle two, vehicle three, or and so on.
That's right.
And how is it normally labeled on the report to who's at fault, in their opinion?
There's codes on
Right.
the report.
Right, and so there's a code for who's responsible.
But it's factors is the way it's put in there, but that's there can be a lot of different, there's something like 80 something factors.
Yeah.
But yes, that's what his opinion is.
And their opinion, they put together who they think is at fault, and they submit that to the text doc.
Right.
Basically, the DPS, right?
And it's actually TxDOT.
Text Department of Transport.
Yes,
And
it's separate from DPS. And like you said, its purpose is stats. That's all.
And they produce the stats for the state of Texas.
Correct.
And they produce the statistics of fatalities on the road.
Right.
And non-fatalities on the road.
Distracted driving while intoxicated.
Yeah.
It's those factors that we're talking about.
And they can break it down per county, right?
They can.
And across the state.
And they can break it down by, let's say, San Antonio, Castle Hills, Balcones Heights. They can do all that.
And you can, that's available online.
I guess I've never asked for stats. I got to be honest with you.
All right, okay, well, fair enough. You haven't asked for stats. But did you know that was the Friday, the 22nd of July was the deadliest day on Texas roads in 2022?
Did I know that? No.
You didn't? Do you know there were 30 persons
No,
killed in
it's an
traffic
objection,
accidents?
he's testifying, it doesn't know that from the doctor.
Sustained.
But we can agree you had a very busy night.
Objection.
All right, that objection will be overruled to the question. We can agree you had a very busy night.
Yes.
All right, so I want to go back to some of the things that you spoke about, but there were no other fatalities that night, right, to the best of your recollection.
To the best of my recollection, I think that was the one in San Antonio.
All right, so you I think how you got to this scene is you were going off duty and then you were told that there was a scene that you had to go to.
Right. We were finishing up. After we go out to a scene, we have to send out it's a notification of the incident. And we were in the process of doing that for the scenes that we had gone to when we learned we needed to go to this one.
Right. And so you made this scene, and I guess you're not the primary investigator. That was Detective or Sergeant Martinez.
Right.
So your role was you've got the Leica manual station, robot station,
Robotic, yes.
which is and it's on a tripod.
The total station part of it is.
Total station's on a tripod, and your job is to do this, to map the scene.
Correct.
So you said initially that you walk around the scene and you're asked to map the scene, and you helped mark things on the road evidence using spray paint.
I didn't do much marking. As I recall, I think mostly what I did was the vehicles.
Right.
As I was walking, doing it at that, when I was doing that, we were deciding what color is going to be what and all that kind of, but I marked the vehicles, as I recall, and that's pretty much it.
Right.
The rest of the sergeant and the detectives were out there doing that because, like I said, it's a long scene and it took a minute.
So you guys between you, whoever's there investigating, you get together. Is that what your testimony is? That you say, hey, we're going to area 1, AO1 is we're going to do orange. There's no set colors for vehicles or anything like that.
No, we determine that. We just get out. We find out what colors paint we have. Yellow we didn't always have. Green and orange we always did, but yellow we didn't always have. But we had it that night, so we decided what vehicle was going to be what and did it.
Right. So I want to talk to you about some of the variables that are involved in this, because, like you said, it's area of impact, not point of impact, right?
Correct.
Because you can't say with a a percentage of scientific certainty that it's a point of impact?
Right, it's a general area. It's close.
Yeah, and so one of the other variables is you're walking around on a scene and you said that maybe you didn't do everything, but other folks are spraying pieces of debris that they think come from certain vehicles, right?
I don't believe we marked any debris in this scene. What was marked in this scene was scrapes and tire marks, final rest. Sometimes debris is important. I'll give you an example. On a wrong way driver, when I'm trying to determine which vehicle is going the wrong way, I can find the headlight to this car and it'll be farther down the road, and I can say, okay, this car was going this way, and the others that. So we'll mark like the headlight assembly that came out of the car. I don't recall doing any. It was more the roadway evidence, the tire marks, the final location, the areas of impact, that sort of
Fair
thing.
enough. It's just that one of the things we spoke about, and I can't recall which state's exhibit it is. There was for example, captured in the picture was a bumper. We think it's a bumper, right? And that's roadway evidence as well, right?
Not really. It's roadway debris, and this is why. I don't know that moved. There were other cars on the road when this happened. I don't know if that's been moved, so I'm not going to shoot anything that I'm not sure of, if that makes sense.
Thank you, Sergeant. That's exactly my point. So we don't know. You don't know if things have been moved. Debris
Wise, I don't know that debris has been moved.
Yeah.
Vehicles did not move.
No.
The reason that the 18-wheeler was not painted into the scene is because it did move. And so I couldn't say, okay, it was here when this happened. He pulled up. I believe the truck was like right up against it or something. So I didn't put that in the scene because I didn't know where it went. Now, the vehicles did not move. The tire marks, the scrape marks, and all the things that I put in the scene obviously didn't move because they're on the ground.
Fair enough. That's the exact point I was going to make. I didn't want to interrupt you. That because you weren't there when the accident happened, right?
No.
Because you were called or TID was called and you didn't turn up for 3 hours.
We came when we found out that it was there. They called us earlier in the night and they didn't know really what they had.
That's fair enough. I'm not asking you to go into that. I'm just saying there was a long gap between you getting there and it happening. Yeah, and that's all I was asking. So because you weren't there at the scene, you don't know if vehicles were traveling through that scene, disturbing debris at the time of the wreck.
I would assume that it's possible, yes.
Yeah, and it's also possible if people who are in the scene walking around, they could be touching things with their feet and things could be getting disturbed. Right?
Which is precisely why I didn't map it.
That's why you didn't map it. Exactly. That's exactly why you didn't map it. So, and that I appreciate that. Thank you, Sergeant. So let's move on. You said there was no pre-impact braking as far as you can see by the truck, which was Mr. Castro's vehicle, right?
Right.
And there was, and I think is that state 98? Yes. Can I approach you?
Yes.
So this is, so Sergeant, so on this picture here, and it's listed as AO1, right? Excuse me, getting there.
AOI 1.
AOI, area of impact.
Yes.
And that's the first one.
Yes.
Right. So this is the first impact that's caused.
With the truck striking the cord.
Right. And it's marked here approximately by this, what do you call that? Scrape in the road? Is that
seam is what I guess that is. I'm not sure what that is.
Because
You're talking about this white line. I don't know.
Sorry, we can't do that, Sergeant.
Yeah, understood.
So I'll let you finish.
No, this mark, I don't know what is. That's a mark from the wheel.
Right. Okay. So we're talking about, let me go back over here. Let me put back, maybe this is better. I just wanted to clarify. You're actually talking about the area of impact one. The first one is this mark here that I'm indicating at the bottom of the screen here.
Right.
And that's a scrape that's produced from a wheel rim. Is that right?
And the tire mark.
Tire mark. But it's not a skid mark.
No.
So there's no evidence of pre-impact braking.
Right.
And from, I mean, this picture is a pretty good indication of it. There's from your, there's no indication on the road evidence of any attempt to swerve
Right.
or maneuver, evasive maneuvers, right?
Exactly.
Is that fair enough? So
Fair enough.
and then you said that you've been doing that, was it 32 years, Sergeant?
I did, I was on the police department for 30 and a half years. I worked for in traffic investigations for 14 and a half.
And you, I think your testimony is thousands of accidents.
Seen, sure.
Thousands of accidents. And you said that just from your training experience, you could determine from going to the scene, seeing the field of debris and the distance that the vehicles have traveled, it was a high speed impact.
Damage to the vehicles,
I think that's what you said.
distance the vehicles traveled after impact. Again, I explained like the track that the truck took was straight as opposed to the Accord. All those things let you know it's a high speed impact with regards to the truck.
Yeah, so knowing what vehicles are involved now, what you're seeing is a person who's driving a vehicle into the rear of a car without any braking or evasive maneuvers, right?
That's it.
And you'd agree that suggests that person isn't aware of the potential consequences.
Or is not paying attention, one of the two.
Right, so it's possible they're not aware, right?
For one reason or another, they're either not paying attention or not aware.
Or not aware, because otherwise, if they're not paying attention, they're not aware, right?
Right, there's going back to the factors on the crash report, there's a million reasons why people aren't, it's called distraction in the vehicle. I've had people drop phones and crash. I've had people text and crash on the phone. There's lots of reasons to be distracted.
Because in your training experience, you know that driving a vehicle like that, you likely to kill yourself if you drive into the back of someone like that, right?
There's a good possibility of injury, yes.
And I wanted to ask you a couple of questions about the judgment.
Yes.
The markings here. So I think you said that on the blow ups, well, we've got a smaller version where this is one that the juries have seen, and it states 94 to 97. So you said your testimony was that you do all of this on the scene, you go to the scene.
Yeah.
Right. So and you're an expert in what you do.
Yes.
And you're the purpose of you going to the scene is to map the scene accurately at the time.
Correct. That's what my purpose was.
As accurate as you can, right?
Right.
And I think your testimony was, and that's to highlight to the jury and represent to the jury what the scene looked like at the time.
Honestly, the purpose of this is it's an exhibit for y'all to see in court.
Yeah.
Point one. Point two, and the most important point is it allows Detective Martinez to do an energy analysis
Of course.
to determine speed.
Yeah, and I apologize. Of course it is. But one of the things you said is it's because we can't take the jury to the scene and show it to them, can we?
Well, that scene isn't the same. Like I said, that's an entrance ramp right now. It's completely different.
That's a no, right? Because they can't. It's
not
impossible. Possible because even if we could take them to the scene, it's changed.
That's right.
I mean, like that this was 281, right? It was changing daily.
Pretty much, yeah.
You drive up there now. This is I don't know, like 4, maybe 5-lane highway. Right?
I believe it's 4, but I'm not sure. I try hard not to get up there.
Probably, yeah. But anyway, we'll leave that, right? But so it's completely different now. Even if we could go back to the scene, it's changed. But so this is the best representation that you can give to the jury of what a scene looks like 2 years later.
Precisely why I shot that sign to give a point of reference.
Any other representation would be a misrepresentation, right?
Yes.
And Sergeant, you wouldn't drive your vehicle at 90 miles an hour into the back of a car, would you?
No. Never have.
No, because that would be suicide, right?
You would like, there's a good likelihood of being hurt.
Thank you, detectives. Thank you, Sergeant. I've got no further questions. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Patrick wasn't hurt, was he?
No, he wasn't. He left the scene that night.
You have to see that later on after the investigation, right?
Yes, he did.
Let me ask you, this council brought this up, there's reasons why somebody would be driving 90 miles an hour down the highway. What is the number one reason that somebody runs into somebody in the back going 90 and doesn't brake?
You object to speculation, Judge?
Overrule. Council, you open the door.
What are the major reasons?
The highest reason in particular at the time that this occurred, which is O-bar 30, right after the bars get out, is intoxication.
Yes. To the last question that was asked by the state defense, you opened the door. And if I'm correct, if I'm incorrect, let me know. But I believe your questions that you began to ask of the witness were the reasons why somebody would drive into someone and not brake. And you brought up maybe somebody's trying to commit suicide. So what I'll do is I'll have court reporter, excuse me, could you find his question on the record in regards to that? And if you'll read that, please, with the answers from the witness.
The best of my ability.
Thank you.
Judge, I go off words. Can you give me a word that I can look for?
Suggest person not aware.
And I'll be able to find it as well. Just give me a moment.
The question, it's possible they're not aware? Is that?
I'll find it.
Should be a good spot.
I think that was after.
You have another question, because otherwise if they're not paying attention, they're not aware, right?
Yes.
And he says right.
No, I mentioned distractions.
There's going back to the fact on the crash report, there are millions of reasons why people aren't, it's called distraction in the vehicle, right? I've had people drop phones in the crash. I've had.
That's the area. So if you can go from there, from when the defense, the question that he asked, and read back from there.
That I just read, Judge?
Yes, go to the question that's before that, so that defense will know the question that defense asked.
Question, and you'd agree that suggests that person isn't aware of the potential consequences? Answer, or he's not paying attention, one of the two. Question, it's possible they're not aware. Answer, for the reason or for one reason or another, they're not paying attention or not aware. Or not aware, he says, because otherwise, if they're not paying attention, they're not aware, right? He says right, and there's going back to the fact on the crash report, there are millions of reasons why people aren't. It's called distraction in the vehicle. right? I've had people drop phones and crash. I've had people text and crash on the phone. There's lots of reasons to be distracted. Question, because in your training and experience, you know I'm not sure of that word, you are likely to kill yourself if you drive into the back of someone like that. And so there's a good possibility of injury, yes. Do I stop or do I keep on going?
No, that's not. Counsel, you open the door. The state's question in no way is suggesting that Mr. Castro is intoxicated. The question is the different reasons why somebody would not break. And defense, you open the door to why someone would not break your question.
If I may, Judge?
Yes.
And I obviously object to the answer was given. It's my position that I didn't answer. I was talking about the awareness. I'm talking about the mental state required. The witness, I believe, if I interpret the readback correctly, it was the witness, the sergeant, who said, bringing distraction in. I never said distracted.
All right, do you have an objection to the witness's answer?
I do, Judge.
And what is your
It's a
objection?
violation of the court's motion in limine.
All right, that will be overruled. Is there anything else?
Judge, I'd like to make a record if I can. If I may.
You can make the record after we finish with the jurors, okay?
Yes, Judge.
All right, let's bring the jurors in.
Thank you. Sergeant Doyle, Sergeant Doyle, right before the jury stepped out, there was an objection, but I'd like to ask you, I asked you that question of about some of the major reasons. Can you please just restate what the answer that you had?
In particular, right around the time that the crash happened, the most common reason is intoxication. It's right after the bars let out, and it's one of the most dangerous times on the road.
Thank you. No further questions, John.
Defense.
Briefly, and Sergeant, you know this from your training experience, what standard of proof do you need to arrest somebody at a scene?
Probable cause,
Probable
reasonable suspicion, and then you build it to probable cause.
Yeah, and at the scene, Mr. Castro was allowed to leave eventually, right?
He was.
He wasn't arrested for any offense at the scene?
No, we needed to determine speed accurately.
So, no. Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. No further questions possible, Judge.
No further questions from the state.
All right. Is he excused? I understand your other issue, but is he excused?
Yes, please, sir.
Excused?
Yes, Judge. So, yeah.
All right. And just make
No
sure that you're not going to be recalled
Okay.
for testimony, but just make sure you not leave just yet. Just wait in the back, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, state, call your next witness. Could everyone please do that? Thank you. Can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
It's Bianca Martinez.
All right, state.
Now, Sergeant Martinez, who do you currently work for?
The San Antonio Police Department.
And how long have you worked for the San Antonio Police Department?
A little over 11 years.
And what training did you receive to become a San Antonio Police Department officer?
So the standard training through our police academy. My class was approximately 7 to 8 months long for training.
And have you received any other additional training since that time?
Extensive training, yes.
In what areas?
Mainly traffic investigation, so crash reconstruction.
And what type of training did you receive in the area of crash reconstruction?
Oh, I've been to numerous classes. Let me see. I brought my resume in just so I didn't forget any. So I've been to all of the courses required for crash reconstruction. So it's the basic investigation class, the intermediate investigation class, there's an advanced investigation class, and then finally there's a reconstruction class.
And in these classes, what did you learn to do?
Investigate and analyze evidence at crash scenes in order to reconstruct them.
And just in general, what goes into crash reconstruction?
There's numerous things. It's mainly a lot of physics and math in order to reconstruct scenes.
And what do you use in order to reconstruct the scenes?
We have a lot of different equipment. The main equipment that we use out at the scene is the brand that we use is Leica. It's a total station. Very similar to surveyor equipment.
And what do you do with this equipment?
So once we get it all set up, we use it to mark and essentially map points out at the scene. So any evidence that we can see out at the scene, tire marks, scrape marks, there'll be marks for, we call it spatter, but it's essentially like liquid splatter, gouge marks, just anything that we can see out on the roadway. We typically mark all of those points. We also mark the vehicles, we outline the vehicles, and then the scene itself. So the roadway, the lane lines, jersey walls, so like the concrete barriers, things like that.
And then how would you take all these measurements or markings and determine something like someone's speed?
So we take the measurements off from the mapping of the points. So whatever points we map with the surveyor equipment, we take the measurements from those.
And how are you figuring it out, I guess, from those measurements and everything there?
So we're using all of the measurements, and we're essentially plugging those numbers into the crash math formulas that we have.
And are these crash math formulas, are they standard in the crash reconstruction field?
Yes, sir.
And have they been backed by studies that have been performed, not by you, but by others beforehand?
Yes, sir. Yeah, not by me. It's nationally accepted, the crash reconstruction science.
And so are you certified as a crash reconstructionist?
Yes, sir.
So I want to take you back to July 22nd of 2022. Were you working that night?
Yes, sir.
What shift were you working?
It's an overnight shift, so we have a daytime and a nighttime traffic investigation detail. So the night shift is from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m.
And do you recall ever being called out or receiving an indication that there was a crash out on 281?
Yes, sir.
And when you received that notification, where were you?
We were at a scene. It was a fatality scene that was downtown. I can't tell you the block number, but it was off of Elmira. It's Elmira near St. Mary's. It's essentially like what would be considered the access road that runs along 35.
And so you're there whenever you received this call. What did you do?
I instructed the officers. So we're going based off of what we're being told over the phone. I have no idea what that scene looks like. I have no idea what the officers have out there. So I'm limited to the details that they're providing over the phone, unfortunately. And the officer said that the officer at the time, it was Officer Morgan. He called and he said that he wasn't quite sure how the crash happened. He said there were multiple vehicles involved. He was kind of explaining so there was a primary crash, which caused a little bit of a backup on the highway. And then there was this subsequent crash. So he was kind of trying to explain all that over the phone, but the details were all kind of jumbled, because I think he was also confused of what was going on out there. It was just a lot to handle, I think. And he basically said that the victim may have suffered life-threatening injuries.
And what did you tell him once you heard that?
So that happens to us a lot. A lot of officers call and say that victims may have suffered life-threatening injuries. EMS kind of says that as a precautionary. They say, this person may be life-threatening because they have critical injuries. So we instruct the officer to obviously follow to the hospital and call us immediately with an update. With their condition, because once they get to the hospital, there's doctors and surgeons essentially that are evaluating them. We kind of get a better idea of their status.
So working with CID, is it just you that's working that shift, or how many other people are working?
That evening, I believe it was me and 2 other detectives, and then our sergeant. So there were 4 of us that night, if I recall correctly.
So at that time, if you had been given more information, would you have then been able to maybe split someone off and send them up to that location?
Yeah, it wouldn't be atypical that we have to, there's been many nights where we've had to split up and go handle scenes. I've handled many scenes on my own, by myself.
So that night, you didn't immediately go to that accident scene that was out on 281?
No, so we were at that, like I said, it was a fatality scene, downtown. And I know it was me and Detective Orta, because he was the handling detective for that scene. And then my sergeant was there, Sergeant Johnson. I don't remember if Detective Doyle was at that scene. I can't recall if he was or not. But essentially we were handling the personnel that were there, you know, we were needed to handle that. And then we got called for another scene besides the one on North, besides the one on 281.
So while you're handling this other scene, did you ever get an update as to what was happening on 281?
No, I never received a subsequent phone call.
When did you end up following up with that scene?
Unfortunately, when we got back to the office, so by the time we finished, like I said, we received another call. There was a scene in South Patrol. I'm not too sure where that scene was. I can't remember, but I know it was in South Patrol. A vehicle drove through a house and seriously injured the occupant, the resident. So I know we went to that scene and we returned to the office at approximately 5 a.m. And I remembered not getting an update from North Patrol. So I was just looking at the calls. We have a call screen with all of our active and pending calls. So I was just, you know, looking at the call to make sure we weren't needed. And again, that happens a lot. EMS will say someone's life-threatening. They get to the hospital and they're not. They're fine. They're stable. You know, essentially, we're not needed at those scenes. But the call said that they were awaiting our arrival.
And so what did you do when you saw that the call said it was awaiting your arrival?
I immediately let my supervisor know that they've been waiting for us for several hours.
And did you end up contacting Officer Morgan again?
I did.
And did you ask about what for any updates?
Yeah, at that point, he said he forgot to call to provide an update on the victim's condition, but that basically she, I think at that point she was on life support.
So then did you make your way down to that scene on 281?
Yes, we immediately loaded the vehicle back up. We use a large truck. It's like our equipment truck. It's an Ford F-450, and it has all of our. It's like a big box truck. It has all of our equipment. So we had to load back up because that's stored at headquarters, and we typically unload it every night. So we had to load it back up and then go all the way out to 281 and like TPC way here.
Now, how long was it between when you first got notice of the accident and when you finally made your way out there?
My best guess is about 3 hours.
And when you arrived at the scene, what was the first thing that you did?
So what we do at every scene is we walk the scene. So once we get there, we walk the entire crash scene from where it appears it started to the very end, to where all the vehicles are stopped and stationary. And that was a pretty good distance.
And what are you looking for whenever you're walking the scene?
Just any apparent roadway evidence. So vehicle debris, vehicle parts, tire marks, skid marks. There's a gouging that's very apparent, typically on asphalt, though this was a concrete road. So we saw scrape marks, but they're difficult to see on concrete. So the roadway's light, like, you know, white or cream, light gray. Very hard to see scrape marks on that roadway, but tire marks are very apparent. Obviously vehicle debris, plastic, metal everywhere all over the road. Again, the vehicle spatter, like the liquids that come out of the cars, things like that. So that's all very apparent on concrete roadway.
And did you get a chance to actually look at the vehicles that were involved in the scene?
Yes.
And how many vehicles were directly involved in the scene?
Technically, the 3 vehicles, the 18-wheeler did get, there was contact made, but it wasn't anything that left any kind of significant damage.
But other than the 18-wheeler, what other vehicles were involved?
It was I believe all the vehicles were 2019s, around that year, but it was a Volkswagen Atlas, which is a larger SUV. And then the Chevrolet Silverado pickup truck, and then the Honda Accord.
And so you actually got to see these vehicles in person.
Yes, all three, yes.
And why is it important for you to see these vehicles in person?
There was a substantial amount of damage to all three vehicles of substantial, it's we call crush. The amount of intrusion into vehicles, it's not very apparent in photos because you're looking at a plane, you know, like a flat plane surface. So being able to see the vehicles in person and see how much intrusion, how much, yeah, I don't know if intrusion is understood, but how much they're dented, essentially like dented in or invaded, by the other vehicles or by each other. That allowed us to kind of recreate the crash and understand, angles like the impact angles and just the amount of force essentially.
So just from looking at the vehicles alone, it gave you plenty of information. And again, it's in-person viewing that really helped you.
Sustain.
So would viewing the vehicles in person, would that be the first step in your investigation?
So basically, yeah, like I said, the initial thing that we do when we get out there is we have to walk the entire scene. And we're of course looking at all of the vehicle damage, all of the roadway evidence. And that's what allows us to be able to tell how a crash happened.
And Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes.
Now, Sergeant Martinez, have you had a chance to view these vehicles since July 22nd of 2022?
Object to relevance.
Overruled.
Answer, ma'am.
Yes, sir. I've viewed them multiple times since the crash.
And in the time between now and July 22nd of 2022, have they changed in appearance?
No, they look very, very similar to how they did out at the scene.
And any differences, what differences have you seen, if any?
It's just gonna be, so they're stored out at our city facility, grout and impound. It's not a paved facility. It's dirt, and it's like clay dirt. So a lot of the vehicles, when we go back out to do any kind of investigation, they're typically covered in dirt. And then they're exposed to the elements. The employees there do try to wrap them. It's like a shrink, almost like a saran wrap. They do try to wrap them, to the best of their ability. But unfortunately that they're still exposed. They're outside. It's not covered or anything. They're exposed to the elements.
And just to clarify, or just to ask, if someone were to maybe go and inspect the vehicles, to go inside one of them and to look inside, would that affect any sort of analysis that you would get from looking at the vehicle?
Objection, that's cause speculation.
Overruled.
Can you re-ask her?
So if someone were to, let's say, go inside one of these vehicles and try to get some property, would that affect any of the observations that you would have made?
No, and no one's allowed to do it. If the vehicles are on evidence hold, which all of our vehicles are for our cases, they're not allowed to do that by themselves. So they're accompanied by an officer or a detective, and all of that's monitored.
And Your Honor, again, we approach.
All right, just have a seat. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna have you step back and I'm gonna have you brought out in 10 minutes time. Remember my previous instructions. All right, everyone, please rise for the jurors in person. Is that correct?
Yes, Judge, at this time.
All right, defense, do you have any questions as it relates to that request by the state?
I have an objection.
Oh, please remain
Sorry.
seated. Do you have any objections or do you have questions for the witness as it relates to whether or not the jurors should be allowed to view the vehicles in person?
I have objections, Judge. I can ask the Sergeant a couple of questions, but I don't really have much for Sergeant, to be honest.
All right, if you just have objections without asking questions, you may proceed with your objections.
I'll do that, Your Honor. And so, Judge, we are, sorry, I'll stand, Judge. I don't know why, but
No
it's the way
problem.
I've been raised, right? So, Judge, we do object, and we maintain and re-urge our original objections. It's an improper, and if I may I move around the courtroom, Judge?
Yes.
It's an improper representation of the accident scene. We had expert testimony from Detective Doyle, who I stood here and he testified that the purpose of Stakes Exhibits 94, 95, 96, and 97 are to accurately diagram and map out the scene of this crash. And he said on the stand, he does that, SAPD does that for the jury. And he said this is the best representation that the jury can have of this accident. That and all of the photographic evidence and video evidence that the state has introduced, Judge. I mean, they have introduced approximately, I don't know, Judge, 20 hours of body camera and dash cam camera. There are 50 photographs of the scene, including two blow-ups.
All right, counsel, would you like to address the issue of the witnesses' testimony? And I'm sorry, does someone still want the witness to be on the stand as we,
Sergeant could be excused from us, Judge.
Can we release it for lunch?
all right, so you can go have lunch.
Thank you.
All right.
What time does she need to get?
I'm going to give the jurors till 1:45. All right. So, counsel. Of course,